Starting in 2028, Sony is discontinuing physical games. They will no longer be making physical discs that you can put into your console. The PlayStation 6 will almost assuredly not have any sort of physical capability, or honestly, even any sort of backwards compatibility. The only way they could do that is if they were to sell some sort of external drive in which you could put in your old discs and it would somehow hook up to your PS6. This is a tragic decision that is genuinely ruining the industry for the worse. This is terrible. To be honest with you, I think that there are only two companies that truly matter in the gaming industry right now: Sony and Nintendo. In terms of hardware production, Xbox has just been adrift for so long, and they'll continue to be in the game because Microsoft will always have the funding to continue to give them that. And maybe with this new CEO and president, they'll turn it around. She seems to have been doing some good things and some bad things, so I don't know. But for now, the PlayStation has been in control of that market for so long, and Nintendo has their own market cornered as well, because Nintendo fans and Nintendo consoles tend to go hand in hand. Most people don't buy Nintendo consoles for anything but those first-party games, although that is changing, and especially with this announcement, I think Sony has really lost an opportunity here to take a hold of the market. It was just over 10 years ago that they had touted against their Xbox competitor about how they were able to provide you this physical experience, how they could give you even more games that you could physically buy and put on your shelf and be able to play, and how they were really committed to that and how important it was. I saw a clip of one of the PlayStation guys on stage explaining why physical media was so important.
Whoever buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
My, how the times have changed, how the turntables. It's barely been over 10 years, and now Sony has decided the bottom line isn't big enough. We need more money, and we need to be anti-consumer in these practices. They're going away from physical discs. And the thing is that everyone might be screaming why, everyone might be so angry, and they might be saying, how are Sony so tone deaf and ridiculous? Well, look at this chart. I mean, this chart explains it all right here. Investors loved it. Investors loved it. Why is that? Because when you go to the PlayStation Store and you buy a digital game, 100% of that funding goes directly to that company, goes directly to Sony and the developers themselves, whatever slice of the pie they get from that game. Especially if it's a Sony exclusive, it's a PlayStation game, that money is going directly back into Sony. If I go to a Target on Black Friday and I buy Persona 3 Reload or God of War Ragnarok on sale for like $30, Sony is not making a lot of money off of that purchase. But of course, everyone knows that is still great for Sony. I am still buying their game at a cheaper price, getting into the games, and probably going to want to buy even more. I'm going to want that God of War Laufey because I care about Ragnarok, and now I care about this world, and I want to know what happens next. So by the time you release that game full price, I'll probably want to snag it day one. There are a million reasons that this is a bad situation. There are a million reasons why Sony is in the wrong here, and why they really should try and just turn the situation around to say, no, we do support you physical collectors. They even have touted some sort of number saying that most gamers nowadays play digitally over physically, and I think that those numbers are entirely skewed because of this post right here. There was a leak from Insomniac, and it says God of War Ragnarok sold 76% physical, 24% digital. The Skywalker Saga, 63 physical, 37 digital. Astrobot, 55 physical. Spider-Man, 54 physical. Assassin's Creed, 49 physical, 45 physical, 44, 40 physical. All of these numbers, even into the lesser ones like Jedi Survivor at the bottom with 40%, that is still 40% of your sales that assumedly most people are not going to buy. That's 40% sales that you're missing out on. And especially with God of War Ragnarok, 76% physical. That's a first-party Sony game. That is a game that you have made and are directly marketing towards your core audience. And 76% of people decided to buy it physically. And you're just telling all 76% of those people, yeah, you made that choice, and we're saying that choice is now wrong. It's not the choice you should make moving forward. In fact, you're not allowed to make that choice. It's when they take away that choice that it becomes a problem. Now, I know a lot of people would argue it doesn't matter, you know, that 76%, most of those people, if not all of them, would end up just buying it digitally if that was their only option. I'm telling you, I don't think that's the case. Sure, many of them would shell out the money to go digitally. Many of them would just grumble and do it anyways. But I see a lot of people going to the stores, going and review bombing Sony, deleting and unsubscribing from PlayStation Plus, and all of these different things that they can do to let Sony know they don't want this. This is bad. And not to mention, right, if you buy something digitally, Sony, you don't own it, right? They don't want you to own anything. They want to be able to take away anything from you at any time. A big thing going through the news cycle, right around this time that they announced this, was that hundreds of movies were taken away from people who bought them from Sony platforms. Movies that people bought and thought that they owned. Sony just said, no, you don't own them anymore. We're taking them away, and we're taking them off the shops, and you don't even get it anymore. You bought it and it's not yours. And this is the worry for these digital games. I mean, even if you look at something like Concord, where that was a huge fail, right? It was a big flop, but even people who bought that game physically, you can't play it. If you put it into your PlayStation 5, it will not work. Digitally, they removed it. They're more than capable of letting you buy a digital game in 10, 20 years down the road, take it away from you forever, or even within a few years, or even in Concord's case, a month or two. I don't think I need to explain why that is horrific, why that is the worst possible outcome for gamers.
Dog, and I'm dying. I'm here editing this video, looking up some different clips and stuff, and I saw this Reddit post says, can anyone please explain why everyone is so upset about Sony removing physical discs? It has 0 upvotes and 370 comments. People are mad.
Everyone was all up in arms about game keycards, a way to keep physical media alive, and now here we see with PlayStation they're getting rid of it entirely. And GTA 6 is selling you a physical box that you can open up and look at that. It's a key card, right? It's not even a game key card. It's not a disc that you can put in. It's a card with a digital code on it. You don't own it. It's a piece of paper inside of a box. There are a million other reasons, and I've said this before, why this is terrible. This is awful, and it makes me so unhappy. And today's video is not going to be about that. You can go anywhere else and talk about that, but where you can't go, what I can offer you is my experience and how this decision has changed my gaming life forever, probably for the better. Growing up, I bought all physical because that was pretty much all you could do. There weren't a lot of digital storefront options at the time, and even if they were, why would you do that? Just go and buy physically. That was the thing to do. Fast forward into the Nintendo Switch generation. At the very start of that, I was very, very set on buying everything physically, unless it was something digital or unless there was a big deal digitally only that I couldn't pass up, something like Hollow Knight. As the Switch went on and as those bigger games continued to release, I just stopped caring about getting it physically because one, that's a lot of space taken up by boxes, and two, I really just wanted to have that on-the-go access to where I didn't have to worry about carrying a ton of cards with me at all times. I could just take my Switch anywhere I wanted and boom, just play a game right then and there. It's different when you have something like a PlayStation where you're always at home and you're always going to have those discs there. So I kind of justified in my mind, let's go all digital, right? So towards the end of the Switch generation, I think starting with Luigi's Mansion 2 in like 2024, I ended up getting that digitally. I kind of hated it. I wasn't a big fan of it, but it was exciting to be able to just push that button and boom, go into it because I didn't have a lot of digital games. I went on with Princess Peach Showtime, with a lot of other games. Side Order was a DLC, but that was also another thing where I was like continuing with that DLC mindset, with that digital mindset. I went into Mario and Luigi Brothership. I continued with that digital mantra. And the Switch 2 came around. I thought, oh, all digital. Again, let's go. Starting with my first ever all digital console. Mario Kart World was digital because I got the bundle. I got Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kirby Star Allies, Hyrule Warriors, all games that I loved, Pokemon Pocopia, all digitally. And I didn't think anything of it. And that's exactly what Sony and all of these big companies want you to do. They don't want you to think anything of it. And it's still a choice, right? And if that is your choice, that's fine. I'm not here to hate on digital only people. That was me up until this recent news. But what I do want you to be aware of is this is the path to the dark side. For whatever reason, I just thought that I wanted Star Fox for my Switch 2, specifically in a physical case. I don't know why. I don't know. It was something about this game specific that made me want to buy it physically. It was a feeling I hadn't felt in a few years. It just felt big enough. I felt like I wanted it enough. It was just a big deal to me to have such a big historical game finally be re-released, finally come back to the limelight, and I wanted it physically. I wanted this historically to be on my shelf forever. So I bought this, and a week before, right, that announcement happened, I got this. My first Switch 2 game physically. Then, this week, obviously, Rhythm Heaven Groove dropped, or I guess the past week at the time of this recording. Rhythm Heaven Groove, I wasn't a huge fan of this game, to be honest with you. I've played it for a few hours. It's probably not going to be my thing. Perhaps I'll make a review on it, but I went out of my way to buy this physically. This is easily something that I would have counted as a digital release. You know what? It's $40. I'm probably not going to like it. I didn't even really care for it. The commercials were I didn't care. But then this was the day that Sony decided that we were going to not have access to physical games moving forward. And so you know what? I bought it. Just to spite them, I bought it. And now moving forward, physical games. I'm going to buy all of my Switch 2 games and PlayStation games that I can possibly get, unless there's a big deal otherwise. I'm going to get them physically because I want to vote with my wallet. And I hate when people say that, to be honest with you. People say it all the time, but I really think that it applies in this situation. If I matter at all, if us as the consumer matter at all, if you are someone who wants physical media to be preserved and wants it to be to where in 10, 20, 30 years from now, you could still put something into your hardware and play it without worry, physical media is the way to go. And I'm not here to slander digital people, but I do want to tell you, if you care about this at all, and it's fine if you don't. If you don't, fine. That's okay. It's not a morality issue here. But if you care at all, I would encourage you to just get some games physically. If there's any game in particular that you find to be enticing or something more that you really care about, get it physically. Look at it. Look in the box. Open it up. Feel out that manual. Look at the game itself, the disc itself. Have a good time with it. Don't just download it and then go on with your life. Actually take the time to do something that's a little bit more difficult, because that was another excuse I made in my head, was that, why would I go to the store and use all of my well-earned time, all that free time to just go and buy it? It's so easy just to digitally pre-order and download it, and boom, it's there day of. So the second I get into my Switch or PlayStation or whatever, I can just play it. That excuse wasn't great for me. I think I needed this reawakening to actually see how important physical media is. Sony made me a physical person once again, and moving forward, I will be buying physically. And if there are sales on their older games like Kirby Star Allies, like Donkey Kong, like Mario Kart, I might buy those games again just to have them physically forever mine. I'm less worried about Nintendo. There's a chance that one day that they decide to do the same thing, but I really think this won't last forever for Sony, and if it does, wow, that's going to be bad for the market. But Nintendo, I think that they're really important. I think that they really care about physical media, and they know that Japanese people also do. I'm a big Nintendo guy. This whole channel is about Nintendo, right? I have all kinds of different Nintendo history and consoles and different experiences with Nintendo, but I decided to get a PlayStation 5 in 2024, and that's my secondary console, right? And of course, I was a college student at the time. I didn't have all this money to spend on big first-party games. I just wanted to get into it, and I wanted a more powerful console to play third-party games on that didn't necessarily run on the Switch 1 at the time, or just to have access to games that weren't releasing on the Switch, like Persona at the time. I'm going to go through these one by one, but these are my physical PlayStation 5 games, and I have a lot more digitally as well. But these physical games, I would never have even considered trying if they weren't physical, if they weren't on sale, because all of these were on sale by a considerable margin, and I bought them only because of that. These sales just don't happen digitally as often. They just don't. If you want a game physically, it's so much easier to find it at a more accessible price point physically than it is digitally. And this has made me fans of this series. The biggest one by far, Persona 3 Reload, right? I had played Persona 5 on my PlayStation 5 digitally because there was a great deal. I got it. I loved it. Over 100 hours, beat that game 100%, loved it. PlayStation 3, Persona 3 Reload. This game, in my opinion, isn't as good. It hits so hard emotionally. I love the ending. I love everything about this game. It's not as good, in my opinion, but it's still a great experience that I sunk over, 60 hours into? And I would never have experienced it without having it physically. Elden Ring, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, I've not even touched that game yet. All of these were wildly cheap when I bought them, and I've not played any of them yet, but I eventually will. I'm gonna get to these at some point, and these are games that I will forever have and be excited to have. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Oh man, this game was so good. The Spider-Man games were some of the biggest reasons I got the PlayStation 5. And I am so excited that it came with the Spider-Man remastered game. They sold them together. And it was on sale too. It was like 30 bucks, and I got it when I bought my PlayStation. It was so cheap to get 2 amazing games. Listen, you can listen to me ramble all day long. I think physical media is so important, okay? I think if you think physical media is important, that you should consider buying only physical from here on out, or at least buying some physical here on out. Sony may try their best, but they cannot destroy what gaming history has always led up to. This culmination of wherever we're at, right? We love games and we want them to continue on in a good and healthy way. So consider supporting it, consider leaving a comment, and let me know more about what your thought process is about all of this, because Sony, they need to do better. Nintendo has to do better as well. They got to maintain that standard. Physical media needs to stick around. The future may look bleak, but I believe that there's hope. I really do. So let me know all of your thoughts and more down in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Click that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and consider joining my membership program, a few bucks a month, just to help support the channel financially and get some cool perks for yourself. If you like today's video, make sure you click on the left side of your screen about my video talking about Ocarina of Time and how I was initially wrong about that reveal, and click on the right side of your screen if you want to see my breakdown of Xenoblade Genesis, going through that entire trailer frame by frame. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I hope you have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I'll see you all in the next video.